Back in the 60s, there was a young Jewish man living in Mexico named Solomon Mizrachi. Solomon struggled to support his family. He established a business importing coffee to Mexico. It was a tough and very competitive business, and every time he thought he had a deal, it would fall through. One day, Solomon negotiated a deal with a Japanese supplier to buy a huge amount of coffee at a very low price. This was it. This was the breakthrough Solomon had been waiting for. After signing the contract, an ecstatic Solomon came home and he proudly shows the contract to his wife. The contract represented a bright new future. Finally, their days of financial struggles and worries were behind them. The next day, the Japanese representative shows up at Solomon's house looking very, very somber. He says to him, "Mr. Mizrachi, the price I quoted to you yesterday was too low. It was a mistake. Nevertheless, as a representative of my company, I signed that contract, and if you hold me to that contract, which is certainly your right, my company will honor it, but I will get fired. I leave this decision to you." Imagine yourself in that position. Some people would say to themselves, business is business. A deal's a deal. I'm not doing anything unethical. I was offered a great deal. The contract was signed. The company will honor it. This is great. Remember, a whole new life for the Mizrachi family was riding on this contract. Solomon Mizrachi didn't think twice. He picked up the contract and he ripped it to shreds without batting an eyelash. He was not going to move up in life by stepping on someone else's back. Solomon's lawyer and business associates thought he was crazy. But God had nachas that day. God was proud. Just like that, his big dream was over. Solomon continued to struggle to generate whatever business that he could. No windfall opportunities came along, but he never looked back with regret. A few years later, that same Japanese man left the coffee company, and he went on to become an executive for a very big electronics company in Japan. This company developed cutting-edge technology in their television department, and they decided to market their TV sets in Mexico. They were considering whom to give the exclusive rights to distribute this new product all throughout Mexico. It's a big piece of business. Without missing a beat, the Japanese friend said, "I know a businessman in Mexico who's the most honest man in the world." Solomon was granted the exclusive rights. Any retail store in Mexico that wished to sell this popular television set could only buy it through him. It was a gold mine, far more lucrative than the coffee deal. And he went on to become the exclusive dealer in Mexico for many companies such as Yamaha, PM, Citizen Watches, and many others. Solomon became a very wealthy and a very philanthropic man, supporting many Jewish organizations and worthy causes all over the world. Friends, in the Jewish tradition, we have a term to describe this kind of behavior. It's called Kiddush Hashem, honoring the name of God, the Jewish tradition, and the Jewish people. This story is a classic example of what it means in real terms, in real life, to be a light unto the nations. Interestingly, the Torah doesn't say that our mission as Jews is to bring light, but to be a light unto the nations. The Jewish way of illuminating a clear moral path through the choppy seas of history has always been more like being a lighthouse than a tugboat for our fellow travelers. In the same way, writers are taught to show rather than to tell. The mission of the Jew is not to proselytize, but to personify the great moral truths of Judaism. And in this way, we do more than kindle the Chanukah candles. We become the Chanukah candles of history ourselves, shining a light of goodness and godliness wherever we go. Happy Chanukah.
The Rohr Jewish Learning Institute has the largest collection of Jewish media online. Hit subscribe for more.